In 2010, we returned to the world of Tron with Tron Legacy, directed by Joseph Kosinski, starring Jeff Bridges, Garret Hedlund, as well as Olivia Wilde. This movie is about the son of a computer programmer searches for his father when he enters into the digital world his father created. So it's time to dive into this movie and help you decide whether or not it's the right one to watch as a Christian right now. Hey friends, welcome to the channel. I'm your host Tim, and we exist to help Christians live in the world, not of the world, by utilizing our convictions in the movies and shows we watch. Tron Legacy is rated PG for some sequences of sci-fi action and violence and some brief language. So we're going to dive into any convictions you may have that may prevent you from watching this movie, any theological themes present within it, and wrap it up with my own personal thoughts on the film. Without further ado, let's dive into the Christian Conviction Meter. If this is your first time here, the Conviction Meter is a series of 5 convictions that may distract or hinder your relationship with Jesus. Ultimately, we are a resource to help you figure out whether or not Tron Legacy aligns with the convictions that God has given you. And kicking things off with violence and gore here, there is some hand-to-hand combat. There is just a lot of battles throughout this movie, namely using discs and light spears and swords and stuff like that is a part of the movie. There also is some sequences of some battles with vehicles, namely light cycles, are also once again a part of this movie. There is some explosions as well. The biggest thing to note here is that while there isn't much blood, there is one sequence in which Sam does get cut. In the film, Sam Flynn is our lead character, the son of the programmer, and when he gets cut, there is a bit of blood there. It is kind of emphasized because he's a user, not a program. Those are all completely different here in the grid, and anytime a program dies, though, they get derezzed, in which they kind of, end up into a million pieces. There is also a character who does lose their arm. Their arm is derezzed in the film, in which the arm is shattered into a million pieces. Not only is there attacks with vehicles on ground, but there also are attacks with vehicles in the air, and this also includes just some blaster fire that is a part of the film and some crashes, stuff like that is a part of the movie. All that to say, we are going to give this a 3 out of 5 in this category. Our next category is lust, and the only thing necessarily that is a part of this movie is the fact that Sam Flynn is kind of forced to change out of his clothes that he was wearing to wear clothes that he will on the grid for the games. And so that is kind of a part of this movie. There is no nudity, though, in the film. To be on the safe side, we are going to give this a 1 out of 5 in this category. Our next category is substances, and the only thing that is a part of this film is a few cans of beer that is drank by Sam Flynn, and that is the only bit of any sort of alcohol or drugs contained within the film. A 1 out of 5 here. Our next category is profanity, and just like the first movie that came before it in 1982, there is the use of the DA word, but that is the only word used within the film. It is also going to be a 1 out of 5 in this category. Our last category is intense/horror scenes. This is not a horror movie, so you don't have to worry about any horror images being contained within this film. All that to say, though, there is definitely some things here in the film to bring on some intensity. Like I said, there are some intense moments of chase sequences by different types of vehicles, whether it's a light cycle or a light jet. Those are all a part of this movie. They can get pretty intense, and the action overall is fairly intense within this film. There's some explosions and crashes and stuff like that is a part of the film as well. There also is in the beginning part of the film jumping off a skyscraper, as well as running away from police. All of these things are a part of the film. We are going to give this a 3 out of 5 in this category. So our grand total on the conviction meter is going to be a 9 out of 25. Of course, the two biggest areas here are its violence and gore, as well as its intense and horror scenes here. And so both of these pretty moderate throughout the film. But as I always say, if any of the areas we've talked about distract you from your relationship with Jesus, don't worry about watching the film. No film is more important than your relationship with Jesus. So make sure to keep him first. That leads us beautifully into our next topic as we dive into some theological themes present within Tron Legacy. And while there isn't anything explicitly about Christianity, the Bible, Jesus, the church, there is talks about perfection. Now, obviously, as Christians, we know that nothing is perfect. Remember, Romans 3:23, for we all have sinned and we all fall short of God's glorious standard. That is very much what is Scripture. We know that no one on earth is perfect. The only person who was perfect is Jesus. Jesus was the only perfect person to walk on the earth. That is why he was the perfect sacrifice in our place. Instead of us, he took the penalty of our sin and our death upon the cross. That way, our record can be expunged for eternity when we, of course, accept the free gift that God has given us. But again, like I said, there is nothing explicitly about Christianity, the Bible, the church, Jesus, none of that in particular in this film. So with that wrapped up, it's time to dive into what I think of Tron Legacy. And just like the first Tron film, this film does help to push forward the CG realm. It helps to really push forward CG technology, which has come a long way since 1982, let me tell you. This film definitely looks a lot better and more visually stunning. But this was the first film to ever use de-aging technology. It is about what you would expect. It does very much look like a game kind of file once again, which makes more sense on the grid than it does when you're in the real world. But this visually looks stunning. It's a stunning film. The grid looks absolutely spectacular. The use of neon lights within this movie is just incredible. I mean, the world building here is a lot better in this one than it is in the original, like miles better. Overall, the story is, for the most part, pretty decent. I would say it's definitely a better story than the original film, but it still lacks the character development that we would expect from some films like this. Some choices, especially towards the end of the film, definitely feel very sporadic, as if, oh, is he gonna do this? No, I actually want to do actually, you know what, let me go back to this idea. And it just felt very out of character in some moments, where a character is very, hey, I don't want to do this, to, hey, let's do this instead. Felt very odd at times in particular. But by far the best part of this movie is its soundtrack, done by Daft Punk, which I would say they did a fantastic job. Not only is it one of my personal favorites to listen to, especially if I'm like trying to drive somewhere or something, I can turn on that soundtrack and it's just a ton of fun to listen to. The synths and electronics and all the things that are part of this is fantastic. But I also would say it's definitely the best soundtrack that in a movie as of late. Definitely one of the better ones over time. All that to say, it's an enjoyable film. It does have a few moments that aren't great, but overall is really solid. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. I do really like this film. So it is a 9 out of 25 on the conviction meter. It is a 8.5 out of 10 in our review. Those are my thoughts, so let me know yours down in the comments below. Let's chat all things about Tron Legacy in the comments. While you're down there, consider hitting that like and subscribing for us. Thank you for watching this video. We really appreciate it. It means the absolute world to us. Tron, if you want to watch our review over there, it is right here. Feel free to click it. Go, do so. We'll see you all over there, and we'll see you all in the next video.